Breck.
Welcome to Breck Latney on Air. Today we have our guest, artist, producer, engineer, Lindsay Vann. Lindsay, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing so well. I can't complain. Everything is amazing.
Right? I completely agree. It's crazy times right now though. Um, but yeah, just introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got into music. What's your story?
Okay, so my name is Lindsay. I've been doing music for 6 years. Um it's been a really crazy journey for me because just the way that I started music was very I started writing my own music after a very dark time in my life. So it was like I started music, and music kind of became my crutch or therapy that wasn't actually healing, it was prolonging pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started music from like it was almost like music was a coping mechanism for me. It was like music was I wasn't doing drugs at the time, so it was like it was a drug to me almost.
Yeah.
I would anytime anything would happen, I would get hurt or feel bad or get these negative thoughts about myself or life in general, I would just go straight to music. Like music became my God essentially.
Yeah.
And it became a very toxic relationship from since I was 16. And that continued up until I was 21. I'm 22 now. That toxic relationship just got deeper and deeper and deeper as time went on. And I began kind of like losing more and more of myself in my music,
Yeah.
making songs that weren't authentic to me and saying things in my music that I wouldn't normally say,
Yeah.
like in real life. And just me at my core, just making music that just didn't align with my soul.
Yeah.
Um, so that is kind of how I got into music. Um, Music for me is different now. It was like a drug to me,
Yeah.
and it became. I know a lot of artists go through that. They don't realize that's what's happening, but just because it's not a substance doesn't mean it can't take the place of a substance. Like it can really be a drug
Yeah.
to you.
I can see
So
that for
yeah.
sure as an escape to people. You know what I mean? And some people get so lost in the music, like you said, they end up doing things they wouldn't normally do. And part of my opinion behind that might just be music industry pressure. You know what I mean? What are people going to think and stuff like that. So you've been doing it for 6 years. What's one thing you wish you would have known before you started to pursue a music career?
Um, I wish that I would have taken seriously everything that people say about the music industry.
Yeah.
I wish that I would have. I don't typically just believe anything people say, but part of me wishes that I had trusted um, what people, you know, have observed from the music industry and how it can be a very dark and evil place,
Yeah.
setting. I wish I would have known that. Um, and I wish I would have known God going into music. I didn't know God, so music took the place of God
Yeah.
in my life.
What's some of the things that people would warn you about when it came to the music industry? I know you said that it was a dark place, but you know, what's a few things that you can recall that you've heard?
Well, people would tell me that I wouldn't be able to be successful, like unless I sold my soul. Um, they told me I wouldn't be able to, like, be the artist I wanted to be if I didn't completely change myself. And I was like, no way. I don't have to sell my soul. I don't have to do any of that.
Yeah,
But what I didn't realize was when people say selling your soul, it's not something that you just, consciously you sign an agreement and your soul just belongs to someone else. I
yeah,
mean, technically, you could say that kind of the case with a label,
yeah,
but it happens before you even sign to a label. People would tell me, you have to sell your soul to be successful. The moral of my story talking about it is you don't really know you're selling your soul. It's just a byproduct of doing music at sometimes when you aren't centered in God.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I completely agree. And with that perspective, and being where you are now, right? Um, Now you're looking at the industry a lot differently, I assume. So, what are your thoughts on the music industry now?
well, it's getting worse and worse by day. It's getting more and it has more and more of an agenda behind it. Um, Music from before, it was supposed to make people feel good and supposed to actually like be a something that was good for people's heart. I just heard some music that was like um the 90s up until the 2000s where music was actually helping people.
Yeah,
But now music, it has a whole agenda behind it, the Antichrist agenda
yeah,
to bring people far away from God. And I just think it's something that's very intentional.
yeah. And I would hear stuff like that too. Like before some of the music went out, you know, there was witches like actually putting spells on the music and certain songs. I can recall
Yeah,
like Jay-Z, if you play some of his records backwards, it says something else. Like, come on, like that is intentional. That
yeah.
isn't that's not by accident.
They really they really curse people with this music, and they let spirits come into them without knowing, and then they wonder why they're depressed or anxious or angry or want to kill someone, like for real.
It's
It's all spiritual. It's spiritual warfare that people don't know exists.
yes, I completely agree.
They're victims. They're victims.
Yep. And I know a lot of people say,
Mm-hmm.
even though they say bad stuff in the music, doesn't mean I'm going to do these things. But what you don't realize in the way that your brain works is that you subconsciously pick up on the things around you, the things that you watch, the things that you listen to, the commercials that we watch. We all know the jingles to like almost every commercial. I had to take out a lot. I don't even subscribe to cable no more because I'm tired of commercials. But when I did, when I was younger, every commercial I knew subconsciously. I didn't make an effort to like, hey, I want to learn this commercial. You know, a lot of things that we listen to and watch aren't like, hey, I don't like it, so I'm not gonna, subconsciously you end up being that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they become your reality.
But so with the outlook that you have and being a creative, right? So now you have this creative aspect. Do you believe that believers can still have a successful music career?
Yes, I do. There's so many artists who are actually believers who make music that sound like secular music, like all the music that, the top 40 and stuff like that make. And it just doesn't do something evil to your soul.
Yeah.
Like it sounds good and it's the same type of effects on the vocals, the same beats, the same voices, but it's just not demonic.
Yeah. And I've seen that. I think a couple years ago, I started to realize that there was a lot of artists actually making Christian music and stuff like that. And it's funny because like in the past,
Yeah.
like the people who were making the Christian music, I'm a Christian, right? But it still was like kind of corny. But a lot of artists are finding creative
I have
ways.
to show you some artists. I have to show you some artists because whenever I was in the music industry, like I thought all Christian music was corny and terrible and bad because you see, I had demons telling me that
Yeah,
and the devil telling me that.
yeah,
But there's artists that make the same type of music that just don't say demonic things.
yeah.
And it's like I'll have to send you some artists because it has been actually shot.
I was getting ready to say like there's so many artists that are actually contributing to the Christian music that has really expanded the sound. Like, I know when I say back in the day, I mean like, when I first started to discover that, Satan was behind some of the music in the industry, I was like, I don't know what to listen to. So I was listening to Bizzle and stuff like that, but I kind of moved on. But there's so many people contributing to the Christian music climate. It's definitely growing for sure. So before you had your outlook on like the secular music, who were some of your inspirations when you were creating the music at the time?
Oh my gosh. Janae Aiko, who's a full-out witch. She's the reason I started music. She straight up transferred a spirit into me, and I embodied that same spirit in my music. So Janae, Party Next Door, definitely embodied some of his stuff. Drake, Trippy Red.
Yeah.
That stuff is seriously dark. You don't even know.
Yeah.
But also XXX.
Oh, Tentacion.
Yeah. You know, everybody like that.
Now,
Sino, definitely Sino.
yeah. Now, XXX
I even stopped
Tentacion.
listening.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But XXX Tentacion was definitely on that side. It's kind of weird how I wouldn't categorize him and Juice World in the same category, but it's so weird that they unfortunately had, young deaths, but they kind of both had almost the same crowd. You know what I mean? Like that to
Yeah,
me.
I mean, it's not a coincidence. The thing about X was that he started being on his route to finding Jesus, and then the devil collected his soul
Yeah.
because he sold it. He was like, "You're not going to get saved. You already sold this to me. So pay me what you owe me."
And it's crazy.
That's what it is. Pay me what you owe me.
Because I remember, I don't know if you ever seen that Michael Jackson clip on YouTube when he was speaking out about Sony and stuff like that, and I think I think he was really scared for his soul. And he was speaking about it, and everyone was just like, oh, he's going crazy, just like all the other ones. Like I forget who else was speaking out about it. He just passed away, but he was going nuts, and like Chappelle and so many people were speaking out, and it's so funny how everyone just like, oh, that's nothing. It's something else.
They all died. Yeah, I mean, man, anytime. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's truly sick. They don't let people live long enough or the devil doesn't let people live long enough to speak out about the truth. Like,
Yep.
He's like, no, you can't turn on me. We made an agreement. We made a contract.
Yeah.
You can't walk out on the contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as
really
soon as
like
they do, he tries to destroy their image and everything. But there is one person I want to know your perspective on, and that's Kanye. So apparently, Kanye has found God, decided to change his whole music thing around. Do you personally believe that Kanye has made the switch? Or do you think it might be some industry ploy to get, I don't know, more listeners?
I think Kanye, man, I feel bad for Kanye. Like, everybody should really pray for Kanye because he definitely wants to be with God. But the thing is, he sold his soul. The thing, though, about it is, if he was going to die from this, if God's grace wasn't on him and he was going to die from all this, he would have died by now.
Yeah.
But he belongs to God. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, he's been given the grace to have this whole journey of faith publicly so that people can see, like, the real warfare that goes on. Because you notice, like, he dropped his first song or one of them was Jesus Walks.
Yeah.
He went back to, making Jesus as king. And then after Jesus is king and he was starting to do kingdom work for God, it's like the devil was so mad. And he's been doing everything to get Kanye back because Kanye is one of his strongest ones.
Yeah, for sure.
And he already sold his soul, so the devil has that on him. Not saying the devil's stronger than God because God can put an end to this whenever he wants. But the thing is, there has to be a purpose behind Kanye going through what he's going through to really show everyone watching, since, Kanye has been at the top for like 2 decades just about, that this spiritual warfare stuff is really real.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, tell me why he starts talking about Jesus, and then now next thing you know, he has Marilyn Manson in a church with him.
Yeah.
There's a war going on for his soul, but the thing about it is, God has already won Kanye, but God is allowing, just how in the Bible, God allowed Satan to go and destroy Job.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same thing. Like, God is allowing this to happen for the sake of other souls that are witnessing, to basically just let other souls bear witness. And then, man, I stand by this. Kanye's gonna be, I don't know what his 5-fold ministry calling will be, but he'll definitely be a preacher at some point in his life. After all this is over, Kanye will be a preacher. He will be preaching at some church. He might, who knows, man? Kanye might be an apostle.
Yeah.
He might build a church.
I desperately
started building a Sunday service.
Yeah. I desperately hope so. I hope that's the case. I'd really hate if it wasn't the case and, he was a Christian and then there's people like, oh, he's a Christian now. I like his music. And then it leads to like, oh, I can do what Kanye did. He's Christian. And you never know. You know what I mean? Some people are susceptible to stuff like that. I always keep my books open. But because I'm a Kanye fan, like I like his production and stuff like that, I definitely hope for the better. But I don't know.
He just needs real believers around him, because he's having the thing like Justin Bieber's pastor who does coke.
Yeah,
you can't have someone who does coke trying to teach you about the Lord.
I'm definitely not sold on Justin Bieber. I'm definitely not. I try to be.
I think he's trying. I think he belongs to God, and God is kind of allowing stuff to happen. I mean, you know how hard it is for them to say the name Jesus, being in a place where they've sold their soul?
Yeah.
They have to fight to do that.
Yeah.
They have to really want to do that.
The insanity. I can't. And it almost makes music distasteful for me, but it's, and like you said, I think there is still a path where, you could still be creative and have a music career. You're just not going to be a megastar, but you can still have a successful career.
You could be, though. The thing is, a lot of the thing about this whole thing is the devil has stolen some of the most talented people that have ever been created.
Yeah.
So it's like, the more people who are extremely creative that get saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
The devil has literally just stolen the chosen people to do music from God.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I wouldn't put limitations on God for sure. But
Hmm.
I always say once you reach a certain level, that there's a ceiling, there's a road you got to cross where, are you going to continue to be on God's side, or are you going to have more opportunities with, selling your soul? You know what I mean? You're always going to reach, and that's like in almost every profession, not just the music industry.
That's so true.
So what's next for you, Lindsay? What are you planning to do? Are you planning to still take the artist route, put out music? What's going on? What's next for you?
I'm definitely going to keep being an artist because I'm not gonna let the kingdom of darkness stop me.
Yeah.
Literally, people let stuff like that stop them, and I will not let that stop me from making music because I've always loved it, and now it's finally enjoyable for me. It's not like a depressing, I'm gonna sit here and dig myself a deeper pit to lay in,
Yeah.
but it's like, wow, this music actually sounds good, and it's not going to steal something from someone's soul.
Yeah.
Because my like I was going down the route to where if you would listen to my music, you would have no choice but to have a spirit transferred into you, and that is very sad because I don't ever want to hurt anybody with anything I do, especially not music. So it's like, man, I just believe because the apostle at my church the other day said, the devil attacks the most what you're called to.
Hmm.
And he has completely ransacked me in music. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, really, he's not gonna sit here and lie to me. I'm not gonna give him the satisfaction of me quitting music.
Yeah.
I don't care. The thing about me now is I used to care so much about plays. Like I would care so much about numbers. I'm trying something completely different that I've never done before, not caring about numbers.
Yeah.
Like I'm dropping music. I don't really care who listens to it.
Yeah. As long
And
as
I
it's
feel
coming
like
from a
that's the
as long as it's coming
that's
from an
the
organic place, you know what I mean?
yeah. But I feel like that's the best way to make something actually, you know, be accepted and stuff. Because the best music comes when you're just, and the thing is, the more you focus on something, I've learned, like, the more you try to force something, the more disappointed you're going to be.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to force yourself to have a million streams, you're setting yourself up to be really upset.
Yeah.
But like if you're dropping music just because you love the song that you've made and it glorifies the Lord, like you don't think he can bless people?
Yeah.
People don't know him. People don't know God, and I'm sure a lot of you listening don't actually know God, but um here's your whatever sign, or here's your little what's it called, invitation to meet God, because y'all think the devil's the only one who can give stuff to you.
No. Yeah.
Really? Like really?
Definitely not.
Like really?
It's just good.
God wants people to be in the music industry. He needs people to be in the music industry. You don't think he would make something shake for somebody who's glorifying him?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that's crazy to me. People are so small-minded and they just don't know God at all. So they don't know what he's capable of. And I can't blame them. The Bible says the God of this world, who is Satan, the devil, blinds the minds of unbelievers. So I can't blame people for something they don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're listening, here's your invitation to know the real truth.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say about that.
No, and I completely agree. I think I think it's just good to know what Satan is doing in the music industry. I don't say it to discourage anybody from making music, but I think what we hit on, and I think what people should understand, is just the perspective. Like, hey, this is what goes on. You have choices. You know what I mean? You need to pick which side you're going to be on. So I think
You
that's a good.
literally make the choice.
Yeah. But Lindsay, that's all I have for you. I really appreciate you coming on. Where can people follow you at?
What's my ad right now? Not me changing my ad all the time. It's at I am Lindsay Vann.
All right, at
Yeah.
I am Lindsay Vann, and that's Instagram, right?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody, yeah. Go check her out. She definitely has some dope music, and she really does give great perspective. And if you're new to the Word of God, she definitely preaches the truth and gives the gospel. So if you're interested in that, please go check out her page. Again, Lizzie, thanks for taking the time. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Like where do I go? Where do I go? If I lost myself, don't take screaming nobody knows me. Like where do I go? If I lost myself, don't take it. Yeah.